Hello and welcome to this biology session. In our last session, we had the introduction of the process of, we had the introduction of digestion. We did look at the alimentary canal and the associated organs. We also did define some terms that are used in digestion. Now, in our session today, let's begin looking at now the actual process of digestion. And we shall look at each part at a time. Remember, we did look at the alimentary canal. We had the first part was the mouth, and therefore let us look at what happens in the mouth. Now, digestion in the mouth begins with ingestion of food into the mouth. So, it begins with ingestion of food into the mouth. So digestion will only occur after ingestion. Then, what happens in the mouth? Now, in the mouth, we have two processes that do occur. We have chemical digestion and physical digestion. So, in the mouth, is chemical and physical digestion. So, in the mouth, we have chemical and physical digestion. Now, once the food is ingested, this food is mechanically broken down by the teeth through the process of chewing and grinding. Taking the food into the mouth, then this food is mechanically or physically broken down by the teeth through the process of chewing and grinding into small pieces. This process of chemical or physical breakdown of food into small pieces is called mastication. So in the mouth we have the food is mechanically broken down into small pieces through chewing and grinding. And automatically this is by the use of the teeth. So the teeth will break down the food into small pieces. Now, this process of breakdown of food into small pieces by use of the teeth is called mastication. So this process is called mastication. So breakdown of food into small pieces by use of teeth is called mastication. What is the importance of this process of mastication? Breaking down the food into small pieces increases the surface area for enzymatic action, or increases surface area for the enzymes to act on the food. So this increases surface area for enzyme action. Therefore, it is not in vain that you do chew. That chewing is very important. Then, we also have a structure in the mouth referred to as the tongue. Now, the tongue has taste buds that enables you to get to know the taste of the food. It has taste buds for tasting the food. So we have the tongue. The tongue has taste buds which taste the food. So in the mouth, we have the tongue. It has taste buds that tastes the food. And that is what enables you to be able to know whether the food has salt, it has enough, the tea has enough sugar, and the various types of taste, sweet, sour, and many others. So the tongue has taste buds. And this tongue is muscular. It also is involved in mixing up of the food within the mouth. So the tongue also is involved in mixing up the food within the mouth. So the tongue also moves and mixes food in the mouth. So this tongue has two functions. One, mixing up the food and moving it within the mouth from one part of the mouth to the other. And two, it has taste buds that enables you to get to know the taste of the food. Now, we also have this mixing up of the food within the mouth. Also, this food is mixed up with saliva. As the tongue moves the food within the mouth, the food is mixed up with saliva. And the saliva is secreted by various glands within the mouth. So there is mixing up of food within the mouth, or the tongue also moves and mixes the food in the mouth. So the food is also the food is mixed with saliva. The food is mixed with saliva, secreted by glands within the mouth. So the tongue mixes up the food and moves the food within the mouth, and in the process mixes up the food with saliva that is secreted by glands located within the mouth. Now there are three pairs of glands, or there are three pairs of salivary glands located within the mouth. So there are three pairs of salivary glands. Three pairs of There are three pairs of salivary glands in the mouth that secrete saliva. One, we have the sublingual salivary glands located beneath the tongue or below the tongue. We have the sublingual salivary glands located beneath the tongue. Two, we have submandibular salivary glands located or found in the jaws. And third, we have parotid salivary glands located in the cheeks in front of the ears. So one, we have the sublingual. We have sublingual salivary glands beneath the tongue. Two, we have the submandibular. We have the submandibular glands, and these ones are located in the jaws. And if you look at the name, mandibular means the mandibles, and that is the jaws. And the third one, we have the parotid. Salivary glands. These ones are located in the cheeks, near the ears. So we have three pairs of salivary glands located in various parts of the mouth that secrete saliva. And these glands are: one, the sublingual salivary glands found beneath the tongue. Two, we have the submandibular salivary glands located in the jaws. And third, we have the parotid salivary glands located in the cheeks near the ears. All these glands have ducts through which saliva is directed to the mouth. All the glands have ducts which direct, or through which saliva flows to the mouth. That still have that which directs, or let's just put it correctly. They have ducts through which saliva flows into the mouth. So we have had mastication, mechanical breakdown of food within the mouth by the use of the teeth. Then we have the tongue that moves the food within the mouth and also mixes up the food. Now this tongue mixes up the food with saliva. Saliva is secreted by three pairs of glands. We have them: the submandibular, the sublingual, and the parotid. Let's look at the saliva. What does saliva contain? Constituents of saliva. Let's look at the constituents of saliva. Look at what saliva contains so that you don't take it for granted. Your mouth is always moist with saliva, and sometimes you may take things for granted. Now, what does saliva contain? One, it contains water. Saliva contains water. It is watery. And what is the function of this water? This water in the saliva acts as a solvent. So, it is a solvent, dissolving the food substances. This saliva also moistens the food. It moistens the food, and it also softens the food. Softens the food. So we have saliva. Saliva contains water. The water acts as a solvent, dissolving the food. Then it will moisten this food and then also softens the food. When you put food in the mouth, maybe a lump of ugali or anything else that you feed on, then after the process of chewing, what you end up is the fluid, not the original solid food. Because of this water dissolving the food, it makes the food moist and then also softens the food. Then another substance that is found in saliva is mucus. Mucus is not just found in the nostrils, but it's also part of saliva. Now, what is the function of this mucus? The mucus lubricates the food. The mucus lubricates the food, and other than lubricating the food, it also lubricates the lining of the mouth. There's sometimes you eat hard foods, but they do not raise the lining of the mouth because you have this mucus. So it lubricates the food and the lining of the mouth. Other than lubricating the food and the lining of the mouth, this mucus also makes the food particles stick together so that these food substances can form a bolus. So it sticks the food particles together. Sticks the food particles. So we have mucus in the saliva. This mucus, one, lubricate the lining of the mouth so that this is not injured by the food substances that we take. It also lubricates the food itself, and it also makes the food particles stick together so that they can be able to form boluses. Stick together to form boluses, or those balls of food. Then a third constituent or substance that forms found in saliva is thiolate, or salivary amylase. Thiolate or salivary amylase. Now, salivary amylase is an enzyme in saliva that digests starch to maltose. So, it digests starch to maltose. Remember, we did look at the maltose being a disaccharide that is a reducing sugar. So starch is broken down to maltose by thiolate. Now, we also have saliva is slightly alkaline. So saliva is slightly alkaline, and that provides a suitable medium or suitable pH for the action of thiolate. So saliva is slightly alkaline. It is not neutral, slightly alkaline. It has a pH of 7.8, and that provides a suitable pH of the action of thiolate. Remember, we did look at enzymes, and we did say enzymes work in a specific pH. There are those that act in acidic pH. There are those that act in alkaline pH, but majority of the enzymes in the body work under neutral conditions. So, thiolate works in an alkaline medium, and therefore saliva is slightly alkaline, and that provides a medium or a suitable medium for its action. As just said, it converts or digests starch to maltose. Then after this chewing and mixing up of the food, this food is rolled into small balls called boluses. After chewing, the mechanical breakdown of food within the mouth, after the chemical. So the mechanical breakdown of food is the process of mastication. Chemical breakdown of the food is the breakdown of starch to maltose. Remember, as we started, I did say that in the mouth we have chemical and mechanical breakdown of food. Already we did look at one. The breakdown of food was this process of mastication. Physical breakdown of food into small pieces by the teeth. That is the mechanical breakdown of food. Then we have the chemical breakdown of food is the action of thiolate. So after the chewing and mixing up of food with the saliva, the tongue rolls the food into small balls called boluses. The tongue rolls the food into small balls called boluses. You roll the food into small balls called boluses, and the boluses are pushed to the back of the mouth, and the process of swallowing can begin. So the same tongue will push the molasses and push to the back of the mouth and the process of swallowing begins. We are through with digestion in the mouth, mechanical and chemical digestion in the mouth. But before we move to swallowing, let's just briefly look at this part that we have just discussed, the mouth. How is this mouth adapted to these processes? How is it adapted to mechanical digestion? How is it adapted to chemical digestion? How is it adapted to these to mixing up of the food? Just briefly before we look at swallowing. Adaptation of the mouth. How is the mouth adapted to its functions? One of the functions of the mouth is mechanical breakdown of food into small pieces. So how is it adapted to this? One, we have the mouth has the teeth, or in the mouth we have the teeth. One, we have presence of teeth. Four, mechanical breakdown of food. Or in other words, we can say we have for chewing and grinding. So don't take your teeth for granted. Remember we said when we're looking at the teeth, take good care of your teeth. They are the ones that will bring about mastication, mechanical breakdown of food to release, mechanical breakdown of food. Then number two, we have salivary glands located in various parts. We have salivary glands. So this is 1, 2. We have salivary glands. Glands that secrete saliva. We have salivary glands that secrete saliva. We have just looked at the functions of saliva. Saliva will soften the food. Saliva will moisten the food. Saliva will lubricate the lining of the mouth. So we have secrete saliva that dissolves the food, dissolves, softens, and moistens the food. So we also have the other functions like lubrication. Then saliva is also alkaline. It is alkaline to provide a suitable pH for enzyme tiling. That is the second adaptation. The third, we have the mouth has a muscular tongue. We have the tongue, presence of a muscular tongue. A muscular tongue that mixes up the food, rolls the food into boluses and moves the food within the mouth. Those are the three main adaptations of the mouth, how this mouth is suited for digestion, mechanical and chemical digestion. Now, let's look at the process of swallowing. Now, swallowing. Our food has been digested. Let's look at swallowing. Now, what happens? Now, when these boluses, remember, the boluses now have been pushed to the back of the mouth. When it is pushed to the back of the mouth, we have the soft palate is raised, and this closes the nasal cavity. What is the soft palate? If you open your mouth wide, you can do that in front of the mirror. There is a muscle that is seen to hang from the upper part of the mouth. A small piece of muscle that hangs from the roof of the back of the mouth. That is the soft palate. There are some people who get rid of it. Maybe they can tell us the biological importance of getting rid of that part. So the soft palate is raised and it closes the nasal cavity. It closes the back part of the nasal cavity so that the food does not go into the nasal cavity, and at the same time opens the esophagus. So soft palate is raised to close the nasal cavity and open the palate or the esophagus. So that soft palate, that piece of muscle that hangs at the back of the mouth is raised, closes the nasal cavity and opens the esophagus. Then this prevents food from getting into the nasal cavity. This prevents from getting into the nasal cavity. Then we also have another piece of muscle that is found over the trachea, referred to as the epiglottis. Excuse me. The epiglottis relaxes and closes the trachea. So the epiglottis relaxes. Therefore, closing the trachea. Why should the trachea be closed? Food should not get into the trachea. I'm sure maybe at one time or the other you may have had an incident where a little bit of food gets into the trachea and the feeling is not very pleasant. So the epiglottis relaxes and closing the trachea, and this also prevents food getting to the trachea. Now we have our epiglottis relaxes and closes the trachea. The soft palate is raised, closing the nasal cavity, and therefore this makes the food move into the esophagus. It has only one weight. It cannot move up to the nasal cavity. It cannot get into the trachea. Therefore, this means that the food can only move in only one way, down the esophagus, closes the trachea. So the food moves into the esophagus or esophagus. Now, this esophagus or the food pipe from the mouth to the stomach. Now, this food pipe is made up of two muscles. And these muscles are circular muscles and longitudinal muscles. Muscles along the length of the esophagus and others around the diameter of the esophagus. Those along the length are called the longitudinal muscles, and those are around the food pipe are referred to as the circular muscles. So the esophagus is made up of circular and longitudinal muscles. Now, what is unique about these muscles? These two types of muscles contract and relax in opposite direction, or they are what you call antagonistic. When the circular muscle relaxes, the longitudinal contract. When the longitudinal relaxes, the circular contract. So they act in opposite directions, therefore creating a wave-like movement of food along the esophagus called peristalsis. So we have contraction and relaxation of these muscles. Contraction and relaxation of these muscles causes a wave-like movement of food along the esophagus. Called peristalsis. So we have a wave-like movement of food along the esophagus in a process called peristalsis. You can just demonstrate it briefly. We have these muscles. These are the longitudinal muscles. We have the circular muscles. So if we have this is our food particle, this food bolus. So when these muscles at this point contract, the circular muscles at this point contract, they push this food mass to the next part. At the same time, this part, the original part will relax, therefore it will be ready to receive food from on another bolus from the above. So it contracts, push the food to the next position. So we have position 1. Contraction will make the food move to the position 2. When this part contracts, it will make this food move to position 3. That is what we refer to as peristaltic movement. Contraction and relaxation of these muscles cause a wave-like movement of the food along the esophagus called peristalsis. My dear student, you are knowledgeable and you can be able to explain all this. And you also do feel as your food is moving along your esophagus because of the peristaltic movement. Thank you very much for being very attentive, and this is because you are the very best. God bless you and see you in our next session.